Aanchal Sharma, your educator. In this video, we are going to talk about a concept related to the topic communication. Today, we are going to talk about mass communication and its theories. Let us see what exactly is mass communication. So we all know there are different types of communication. It can be interpersonal, intrapersonal, group. It can be verbal, non-verbal, or it can be mass communication. So as we know, mass communication is very different than group communication. In group communication, you know to whom you are trying to communicate, for example, a classroom. But in mass communication, there is a wide variety of audience and you do not know who actually is listening to you. So mass communication occurs when a small number of people send messages to a large anonymous number of people, usually heterogeneous audience, through the use of specialized communication media. So when a media is used, a medium is used and communication happens to a relatively larger number of people, and we call them anonymous because we do not know who is listening to us. They are larger in nature and they are heterogeneous in nature, right? So what is the difference between heterogeneous and homogeneous? Homogeneous means that they are having the same characteristic, while a heterogeneous group is a group where you do not have the same characteristic. So for example, we have a YouTube video. So I uploaded a YouTube video and that YouTube video is related to communication. Now, of course, there will be a larger number of audience who can see that video, but only few of them will use it, right? So that audience, which is relatively very larger, is called as the heterogeneous audience. But of course, they have some particular interest, and only those who have an interest in that video will watch and go through that video. So this is how mass communication becomes a communication where a larger number of people are involved, but a few number of people are talking to them. Now, there are theories that are involved in this mass communication. So mass communication theories are frameworks and they are like perspectives that help explain how media messages influence individual as well as society. So mass communication basically involves the interplay between the society as well as the people. So when you have the interaction, when you want to communicate something to a larger number of people, and you can say you are talking about culture to society, you need to talk to the society, then you call it as mass communication. So mass communication theories are frameworks. They are like perspectives, frameworks that help you explain how the media message will influence individual and the society, how the media is going to influence and change the perspective of the people. They explore the process, effects, implications of mass media on public perception, behavior, and culture. Now, what all things are involved? People's opinions, behavior, perception, as well as culture are targeted when we look at mass communication. Nowadays, wherever you go, the mass communication is always with us. So we sometimes call it as surveillance, right? There is always surveillance of mass communication. It can be good, it can be bad. Mass communication has a number of advantages. It has advantages like it gives you knowledge. It is used for entertainment. It is used for, you can say, propagation of a culture. It is used for creating communities, awareness. So there education. So there are different purposes. But yes, of course, there are some of the disadvantages as well. Because nowadays, these mass medias even enter your room. You are always under surveillance. So just as everything has its pros and cons, similarly, this mass media also has pros and cons. And the major purpose of using these mass communication is to propagate the culture, to bring a significant change. Public perception, interpretations are changed, and the behavior of the people are also changing. These theories often address the relationship between media content and the audience interpretation. So how the audience will interpret the content that the media is posting is basically seen under the different theories. Now, there are different theories. In this video, we will be talking about 3 to 4 theories. We have different theories like agenda setting theory, argumentation theory, authoritarian theory. We have classical rhetorical theory, cognitive dissonance theory. We have cultivation theory, direct effects theory, and framework theory. So there are multiple theories. In the comment section below, can you tell me what do you mean by cognitive dissonance theory? One theory that is often asked in the paper. So I will definitely go through the comment section and I want you to answer what is cognitive dissonance theory. Let us look at very important theories now. So what do you mean by agenda setting theory? Agenda setting theory says that media, mainly we are talking about the news media here, aren't always successful in telling us what to think, but they are quite successful at telling us what to think about. So yes, media never always tells us, and it is not always successful about what to think. They will not always tell us what we need to think, but they are quite successful in telling us what we can think about. How can we think about these things? And the more we see all of these things in the news, we try to think and go in the same direction. I'll read again. Agenda setting theory says that media aren't always successful at telling us what to think, but they are quite successful at telling us what to think about. So they know how to capture our attention. They know what we should think about and in which direction our brain should be channelized. So there is always a reality. Thereafter, we see a selection, omission, and framing of the stories are done by the news channel, right? Or it can be any media. Say, for example, there is a reality that obesity is increasing now, and there is this medicine that is there in the market. So what will the media do? They will select what to talk about. They will select the target audience. Then they will do some omission part, what is needed, what is not needed. Then framing of the stories would be done. Maybe they can take few examples to capture the attention of the people. Then the agenda is decided how and what are the things that they have to talk about. And proper, they have a perception of reality. So this reality is often contributing to the agenda that they have decided and how the perception of reality is seen by the person. So the person who is looking at the, say, advertisement of an obesity medicine, then what will happen? The perception of the child or the perception of the human would be changed according to the media company, right? So the whole power stands in the hand of the media. What are the theorists who are the theorists who talked about it? We have Maxwell Macomb as well as Donald Shaw who talked about it. So they talked about this theory of agenda setting theory. What to think, how to think, these are the channels that the media creates in our mind, and we cater our mind according to these things only, and this is all done very unconsciously in our mind. Then comes the cultivation theory. Now cultivation theory is a very sociological and communication framework to examine the lasting effects of media. We always see, just as there is cultivation, rearing of, say, fruits, vegetables, plants, similarly, a proper agenda is cultivated in our mind. The more we see the more we see the news, the more we hear the news, the more it is imbibed in our mind and in our body. So the cultivation theory is a sociological and communication framework to examine the lasting effects of media, primarily the television. According to Gerbner, the overuse of television is creating a homogeneous and fearful populace. So what happens? For example, if you daily see a news channel where you see crime rate is increasing, so what will happen? Your brain would be channelized in such a manner only that you will read only those things, or you will see only those things in which the crime is seen, right? So the media is influencing us in certain manner. It can be good, it can be bad. Now it is up to the media how they want to channelize the mind of the audience. So it is a cultivation theory. How you can remember? Cultivation means you are propagating something. You are cultivating a seed. So this is a cultivation of a seed in the mind of the audience. It's like a framework in which you see the effect of the media, how media can affect you in a positive as well as in a negative manner. And George Gerbner is a theorist who talked about it in greater detail. Then we have uses and gratification theory. Users take an active part in the communication process and are goal-oriented in their media use. So users are also very, cautious in what they want and what they do not want to have. There is selective perception, selective retention, selective attention that are always involved. So we as audience know what to think and what not to see, what not to hold on to, what not to look, what is important for us and what is not important for us. So just as there is cultivation theory, the other side is also very applicable. We use media. We use media for education, we use media for entertainment, and we consciously use that, right? So users take an active part in the communication process and are goal-oriented in their media use. Uses and gratification assume that the user has alternate choices to satisfy their need. So they have a lot of choices, user have a lot of choices, but they still chose to take up this amount of this media to help gain knowledge, right? So the media also give us knowledge. Then this is a very, very important theory and a very interesting theory as well. So magic bullet theory. Magic bullet theory is also called as the hypodermic needle theory. So this hypodermic needle is like an injection. So whatever media is talking about is like an injection that is drilled in your mind. You somehow start to think that whatever you see, whatever you hear is correct. That is drilling of facts. It's like indoctrination that is done, and it can be negative and it can be positive as well. So the magic bullet theory, also called as the hypodermic needle theory, suggests that mass communication is like a gun firing bullets of information at the passive audience. So here, this theory also says that the audience is not at all active, audience is passive, and we are relying on the things that the media is telling us. We blindly follow whatever the media is talking about, right? So in this hyperactive world, a hyperactive reality is created and we believe what the media is talking about. So there are so many different theorists in your English literature classes. You actually study about these theorists, and all of them have talked about the influence of media and how in this postmodern world एक hyper reality create हो जाती है, right? It's like a simulacra and you tend to believe in that. So it's just a reality that is not a reality, but because of mass communication, it appears to be a reality, right? For example, there is a very important book that is Gulf War Never Took Place, right? So all of these things talk about what? They talk about that audience is passive and they actually believe what the other person or what the audience or what the advertisement agents or what the other persons are trying to communicate to them. Communication was seen as a magic bullet that transfer ideas or feeling or knowledge or motivation almost automatically from one mind to another. And from one mind to another, this information tends to pass and we are somehow passive and the mass media influences us. It can be positive, as I say, and it can be negative, right? So Baudrillard talk about all of these things. There are different theorists who talk about it, that media somehow influences us. We, like passive audience, are not at all participating in what the media is saying, but we tend to believe what the media is saying. A hyper reality is created in front of us and we try to believe in all of these things. Let us quickly revise what we have done. So first of all, we discussed about mass communication. Mass communication is seen when now a small number of people send messages to a large, anonymous number of people who are usually heterogeneous in nature, right? This is called as your mass communication. Mass communication has theories and these theories are giving you framework and perspectives of how media that can be used to talk about mass communication and to spread knowledge. It also sees the relationship between individual and society. It sees how the perception, implication, behavior, and culture of the people can be changed. There are different theories: agenda setting, argumentation, authoritarian, classical rhetoric. I asked you to talk about cognitive dissonance theory because it is important and it has been asked in the paper also. Cultivation theory, direct effects theory, and framing theory. These are the theories that are important. And then we discussed about agenda setting theory, that media sets an agenda and if we try also, then also we cannot do away with all of these things. And we think and we listen and we hear and we do the things that media is trying to propagate. So the perception of reality is created because of the media. Cultivation theory, somehow our mind is cultivated in a way that media wants it to be. Then we have uses and gratification theory. Though we have a lot of other options, but we use media to get information. So it's a two-way process. Then comes the magic bullet theory, where whether it is a hyper-reality or it is a false statement or it is a true statement, we try to believe it, because like an injection, the facts are drilled. Like a gunshot, the information is popped in our mind. So these are the various theories that are related to mass communication. If you have any doubt, you can ask me that in the comment section and I'll surely reply to you. Thank you.